Hello everyone, this is Peter Gaday from ManageXValue.com. Today we are going to talk about one of the most important section of the ManageXValue Risk Quantification platform, which is really the ultimate objectives we want our clients to be able to do. Namely, it is about resource allocation, how to really get the most amount of risk mitigation benefits with the available resources within the organization. In other terms, how to maximize the return on the risk mitigation investments. What you see here for now is the investments table. We have covered multiple topics about risk mitigation investments. Our clients can see them within the platform across the various sections. You can find them on the YouTube channel. Of course, subscribe and then set your notifications for all the videos. However, once we have multiple investments within the platform, the next key section is resource allocation. So companies can set up multiple portfolios and the allocations within those, depending on who within the team, within the enterprise team, manages specific portfolios and budgets. We are going to have other videos around that topic later. Now, if we get into a portfolio, then clients can immediately set up multiple resources, monetary resources and technical resource hours available throughout 10 years. And they can start looking at the various investments and then select in which year they would actually fund those investments. Now, in these investments, only those come up that are in a stage that really requires the funding and funding approval, not preliminary planning stage investments. But let's get into a portfolio or an allocation we already defined, which is called the entire bank allocation. So you can see here that the investments we have already have some funding years allocated. We're going to have some discussions later on in another video around whether these are proper years or what considerations to give around the years. And with these years, you can see from a resource allocation perspective that there are some years with not enough monetary resources to execute and maintain the planned investments. In some other years, there are some excess funding available. So this is opportunity for the decision makers to reallocate resources between various years or across years to make sure that everything can be funded. You can also see from a technical resource perspective that there are some years where there is not enough technical people, technical resource people within the organization to execute all of them. We are going to talk about these resource allocations also in another topic. However, once we get to a decision around what are the investments we're going to fund and when to fund those, clients can get into the analysis of the portfolio. Immediately, you can see another exceedance curve here, which really focuses on the net present value or the value per technical hours, which basically highlights that funding this portfolio throughout the 10 years, actually what is the overall risk mitigation benefit and to what is the likelihood that the risk mitigation benefit is going to exceed the cost by a certain amount. And from a value per technical hours perspective, what is the potential risk mitigation by technical hours that is required by the investments within the portfolio? So this is, for example, a very useful topic, especially if clients get into situations that you've seen before, that in certain years it seems that there would not be enough people to execute all of the investments, because this could be something to use in order to negotiate for either additional people, to hire more people, because you can see how much excess return or risk mitigation benefit, in other terms, in this situation or context, how much risk mitigation benefits you can get with 1 hour of technical resource, is that essentially hiring a new person. Or alternatively, if clients decide not to hire additional people on their payroll, to what extent it makes sense to hire external consultants, for example, to execute the investments. So when we get into the portfolio analysis, you can see all the analysis as you've seen and you're familiar with from the risk mitigation investments views and the current risk assessment views. However, notice here on the right that we have a view over 10 years. Because what actually we get is that considering the different execution years for the investments and the different useful lives, clients can take a look at their risk exposure or risk landscape over 10 years. So as they start funding the various investments, they can see how their loss exceedance curve actually gets closer to the risk tolerance, the predefined risk tolerance. In this case, the tail end of the risk tolerance is already addressed, even though in an earlier sections of the risk tolerance there would still be work to do. And then in this example, with the useful life of some of the investments running out, we get back to whatever we have at the very beginning. So overall, you can see and evaluate the risk mitigation benefit from the portfolio over time. Similar to this, when we look at the bubble charts, let's eliminate the black swan events here. We take out the war write-off and then the bank run. Once we have taken those out, at the very beginning, it's a proactive investment being executed. That's why actually the frequency side switched to or moved towards the left, decreasing the frequency of threats turning into risk events. And then another proactive investment is executed. And the third one, it seems, then we get into a reactive investment, which basically decreases the impact side of multiple of the risk events. And then some of the proactives are running out from useful life, and then we get back to the original point or original risk exposure. So another important and useful view for the portfolios as well, in order to understand what's going on, how we mitigate the risks, is actually the risk inventory. You can see here that there is still like 1,049 scenarios included in the risk inventory. But for demonstration purposes, let's just focus on a very specific topic. Multiple of the investments actually focus on the loss of high sensitivity investment client data risk events. I will also just narrow the focus to the online investment bank service and malware. Essentially, multiple of those investments we have defined for in this demo address those. You can see that what is the current strengths of the relevant proactive capabilities when hackers use malware against the service provider API. That causes the high sensitivity investment client data risk event. You can see that as we execute the first investments, that actually increases the proactive capabilities strengths, getting closer to the strengths of the threat, and that mitigates a significant portion of the frequency side of the risk. As we execute multiple of the other investments, they address other malware-related issues or areas, not just focusing on the service provider API, but other attack surfaces as well. And then over time, we also increase the strengths of reactive capabilities, which really focus on mitigating the impact of risk events if we couldn't avoid them. So with all of these together, essentially this maximizes the risk mitigation benefit from the various investments within the portfolio. So what you can see here is that with the highest level of risk mitigation benefit within the portfolio, because after this the useful life of some of the investments are running out, the residual risk would be $13 million, which is significantly lower than without the investment. So I just switched to the current view, which is the without portfolio view. The current risk within these 7 scenarios is $138 million. And then with the portfolio in 2027, according to the roadmap, we would decrease this to 13 million only. Obviously, this is a significant risk mitigation benefit from these scenarios only, even though these investments probably mitigate multiple other scenarios. So overall, the portfolio management and then the resource allocation capability is one of the most important purpose and objective of the ManageXValue risk mitigation platform, because we want to enable our clients to get the biggest bang for their buck and really maximize the risk mitigation benefits they can achieve with the available resources they can allocate to risk mitigation investments. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave your comments below. Please share the video with anyone who you think would benefit from this information. And then subscribe to the channel and set your notifications. And of course, like the video if you did. And if you would like to have a more detailed demo of the risk management platform or risk quantification platform of ManageXValue.com, then head over to ManageXValue.com and request a demo, and we would be happy to provide you one. Thank you very much.